Good afternoon, everyone. I think everyone's just joining. Give it a moment for Zoom to let everybody pop in, but hello and welcome to everyone this afternoon. My name is Rebecca Singer, and I'm part of Hillwood's public programming team here at Hillwood Estate Museum and Gardens. Thank you so much for joining us today for our Haute Couture Chrysanthemum virtual floral design. We're delighted to have you here and glad we're able to gather virtually. I certainly hope that those of you in the DC area will come visit us soon and see the spectacular colors in the fall gardens, as well as our Grace of Monaco Princess and Dior exhibition, which is pretty spectacular as well and open through early January. Also want to give you a note that our next floral design program is on November 11th for the Bountiful Harvest Centerpiece program. So we hope you'll be joining us again next month.
That's the first requirement.
Before we get started with this month's program, though, I just want to give you a few quick notes about today's class. We're going to be building an arrangement on camera step by step. Ami Wilber will be doing that with us. She's going to be stopping for questions, and the demo portion will take about 45 minutes this afternoon. As you have questions, you can absolutely submit them via the chat function whenever they cross your mind. And then when we have a good pause in the demo moment, I'll relay those questions over to Ami, who will answer those. For our friends near and far following along at home, after the demo, we invite you to stay for a show and tell portion, and we're going to feature everyone who's interested in sharing the great designs that you've been working on. So turn your cameras on whenever you're ready to share. And now it is my pleasure to pass this over to Ami Wilber, who's the floral and events decor designer at Hillwood and has been with us doing amazing work since 2016. So take it away, Ami.
Great, thank you so much, Rebecca, and happy October to everyone. And this is one of my favorite floral design topics today because we're going to be using chrysanthemums. So I know a lot of times chrysanthemums sort of get a little bit of a bad rap. People just sort of think of them as the plants that you get into the grocery store and things that are just sort of, for outside and relatively inexpensive flowers that aren't really meant to be something that should be showcased on their own. But since I've been working here at Hillwood, I have encountered some amazing mums that we grow here in our propagation house, and then also just around looking for different local farmers and looking at different specialty shops. And there's a whole huge world of amazing chrysanthemums that are out there. So I definitely hope that through this, you'll get a little bit more inspired to use chrysanthemums and sort of seek out chrysanthemums as well. In the DC area, if you are here, we are actually going to be doing chrysanthemum tours. Our greenhouse grower, Jarrett, is going to be leading them in our propagation house. So it will be in person and you'll actually get to see all of the chrysanthemums that he's growing for us right now. They're for display. And then they're also for us to use here in the floral design realm. And it's really, it's one of those things that if you have access to any kind of local mum supplier or know someone who's growing any sort of specialty or heirloom mums, I highly, highly recommend getting some or going to be able to visit it because it is really amazing. Jared's tours, I'm sure it's up on the website, but they're going to be next week, the 26th, 28th, November 2nd and 4th from 2:30 to 3:30. So again, if you want to see, some of the things that I'll be using in my arrangements in the weeks to come, you'll see them at their beginning state in the propagation house. All right, so let's get started. Today I have a gold colored footed compote bowl. It's a metal. I thought this would be a nice color to sort of complement our ushering into fall officially. I don't know about you guys, but it is chilly here today, so it definitely feels like we are getting ready for fall. So I wanted to choose something that was going to reflect the season. And we're going to start with our chicken wire. I like to make it into this sort of like little tube scenario. And then I squish in the sides. and kind of make it into like a little bit of a ball thing. I don't know if you can see that. And then I just shove it into my container. And then if there are any like little pieces that are kind of like sticking up or sticking out, I'll try and just sort of bend them over or bend them in so I don't stab myself while I'm making my arrangement. And then once I have it shoved into the bowl, I'm going to use some floral tape. I like this clear floral tape here, just because you don't really end up seeing it when you're taping it down. It's important to use some kind of tape to secure your chicken wire into your container. So I like to be extra cautious, and I'll do a full X across the top of it. And then just to make sure that it's going to stay in place, I will run my tape all the way around the edge so that it is nice and secure. So again, you can see I just did a little simple crisscross with the tape and then taped it all around the edge of the container. So the next most important thing is to put water into your container. So whatever kind of container you're using, make sure that you put water into it. And one of the major benefits of using the chicken wire instead of using floral foam is, one, that your stems are going directly into the water, so that's going to last a lot longer. It's a lot easier to also change out your water from your container because you can just simply bring it over to your sink, dip it slightly. You know, you want to hold on to the arrangement a little bit so that not all your flowers don't like falling out, and then refill it with water. So that's one thing. And then of course the main reason for using chicken wire, not floral foam, is it's much better for the environment, and you can reuse it several times. I reuse my chicken wire here for months on end. And once you're done with it, you can just throw it into the metal recycling. And it's just it's a more greener way to do floral arranging. And I think it's also becoming something that we're all a lot more conscious of these days. Just a quick note, I don't put anything into my water. That is just plain tap water that I was using. If you do have those little floral packets, you know, with like whatever that like little floral food is, go ahead and put that into your water. The only reason I don't do that is just we don't put anything into our floral arrangements so that nothing spills or stains in the mansion. But when I do process my flowers, I put in a hydrating solution, especially if it's flowers that I've purchased from the floral distributor. That way, you know, they might have been out of water for a day, sometimes even more. So it's important to use some kind of hydrating solution when you're processing your flowers. But otherwise, everything that you should have gotten, you know, either through Hillwood or your own, you know, as long as you put into water immediately and cut the stems, then you should be fine. All right, so we are done with our prep for our arranging. The other thing I just like to point out is you can see that my container is rotating, and I have it on a Lazy Susan, which I find to be an easy thing to use, especially when you're doing an all-sided scenario for an arrangement, which is what we are going to do today. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to green up my container, and I'm using a seeded eucalyptus today, which is this gal right here. And why I like to green up my container first is two reasons. One is that it gives me an idea of how big and how wide I'm going to make my arrangement, so that I have a good understanding, like, okay, well, this is where the greens are, so I know I don't want to necessarily go any higher than this. The other reason for it is that it really helps to sort of fill in these gaps of your chicken wire, because you'll notice that the holes are relatively big. So if you were to put a small stem into the hole without anything in it, kind of going in naked, it's not going to sit where you want it to. It's going to kind of start flopping around. So the greening part then helps you to kind of create a nice little cushion or a base for your arrangements. So if you look at this piece of eucalyptus that I have, it's far too big to put in whole into this container specifically, because you want to think that your arrangement is going to be about 1.5 times the size of your container, so that you don't want to have something this big trying to go in to hold it all together. It would just end up being too top heavy. So with this, I'm going to start breaking down the greens. I'm cutting everything on a nice sharp 45-degree angle. That way more stem is exposed to the water. So that I have something that's a little bit more manageable to then start using for my arrangement. So again, I said that this was going to be an all-sided arrangement. That means you're going to be able to see it from all sides. So I want to first start by creating what I think is going to be the highest part of the arrangement, the tallest part, which is going to be this piece of eucalyptus right here. And I'm putting it right into the middle because I'm going to work from the middle of my arrangement and work out because I'm doing an all-sided arrangement. So I'm going to first start with my highest point, and then I'm going to start with my width. And I want my width also to kind of drape over the side so that it's nice, creating kind of like a nice arch this way. And from there, I'm just going to keep going around. And I'm going to start again. I'll start with the middle, and then I'll go out to the sides. And I'm just breaking down my eucalyptus into these smaller, more manageable pieces. And the one thing that I always like to think about is that I'm not trying to force my greens or my flowers to go the direction they don't want to go. So if you look at this, it's naturally curving this way. So I'm going to use that to my advantage, and I'm going to kind of create a nice line with this. I actually like this one a little bit better, so I'm going to swap these out like so. That's, again, one of the nice things about the chicken wire. You don't have to be fully committed to placing your greenery in exactly the spot that you need it to go into, because you can then move it around. All right, so it's a little bit lower, but that's okay. And one thing that I find, especially when you're using these sort of smaller, thinner stems, is that, again, you're going to have some movement with that, and we can kind of adjust it by taking smaller clusters of our eucalyptus, kind of making a little bunch with it, and then sort of sticking it also into that same hole to kind of give it a little bit of a cushion, so that if I want this to stick up a little bit, now I have some more greenery that will help keep it standing upright. The other thing that you can do is kind of bend your chicken wire a little bit. As you can see, this isn't cooperating with me, so I'm going to actually put it over here. There we go. All right. So again, I'm just going through and breaking up a lot of my eucalyptus into smaller, more manageable sizes. And I do like having this sort of drapey eucalyptus so that it comes over the sides of the container as well. And the other thing that I really like about this seeded eucalyptus is the fact that it does have all these like lovely seeds, and it kind of adds a nice textural element to the arrangement as well. As you can see, I'm just kind of going around, filling in the areas that need more greenery. Again, breaking this all down so it's more manageable sizes and pieces of eucalyptus. I don't want anything super big for this container specifically. And this one, these seem to have a little bit more leaves than they do seeds. Like the other ones were a little bit more seedy, and these ones are a little bit more leafy. So it's good. I can do a nice contrasting texture area with the seedy ones and the leafy ones. And again, some of these like really small, skinny stems, I don't know if you can see that. I'm just putting a couple of them together because trying to put them all in individually is just a little, it's just a little silly to try and do that. All right, so I am just about done with how much I want to green my container. I can tell that I still have like a little bit of a hole right here. So I'm just gonna fill that in real quick, see, and then save some of the rest of this greenery for later in case I need to go in and fill in any holes or gaps after I feel like I'm done, when I have my last little check of it. But right now I'm gonna put my greenery right in there. All right, so that you can see that back just a little bit, but the shape of it is sort of a sweeping a little bit, going this way, down, draping this way. So I'm making a little bit of a linear curve or a little line that way. Does anyone have any questions about the greening part of this scenario?
Hi, Amy. There is a question. Sorry, this is Rebecca. There is a question in the chat from Diana. She just wanted to know if you could please repeat the sizing dimensions, and is the arrangement supposed to be half the size of the vase?
So it's typically 1.5 the size of the vase. So if you think, I don't know if you can, so like if this is this much, I want to make my arrangement 1.5 times this size, which is about right to here. Okay, so going on. The one thing, because we're just using all of one type of flower today and it's all mums, what we're gonna do with that is I'm gonna go in by color, because the size and the texture and the shape is all very similar. Typically, if you're using a variety of different kinds of flowers, you want to go in with your largest bloom first because it takes up the most amount of real estate. But again, today, because they're all about the same size and it's all the same flower, I'm going to go in by doing it with the shades of bronzes to oranges to a light peach that we have today. So that way, I can kind of get a sense and make a little bit of a map of what the arrangement is going to look like. So what I want to do is I want to start off with my darkest color mum first. And again, if you have different size mums, start with your largest blooms first. And what I'm going to do is, because this is going to be an all-sided arrangement, I'm going to do it in patterns of 2 and 4, and sometimes going into an odd number. But again, a lot of times I always think about using odd numbers as my rule to make this sort of like triangular pattern. But this time around, because I'm doing a whole kit and caboodle, I'm going to just sort of do it more in even numbers. Again, I'm going to go in with my biggest blooms first and my darkest colors. And I want to put them in somewhat closer to the base of the container. So you can see that this is really kind of close to the base of the container. And the reason I'm doing that is because these are the darker colors, and we're going to create a little bit of depth within our arrangement so that you want that feeling of like things pulling in and coming out. And so the darker colors being on the inside will help with that volume type of feeling. And the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to mimic this mum over to the other side. And I'm just going to kind of go diagonally across to where this mum is located. So that I'm not putting it in the exact same spot as the other one. I'm putting it diagonally across, but in the same sort of location that is close to the base. So I have my two mums, but they're on opposite corners. I'm going to next go in with two more of that same color. And then this time I'm going to try and bring them up and over here to this side slightly. And these are so beautiful that you want to make sure that the mums are facing out towards you. And then this one I'm going to do across and kind of a little bit out this way. So I'm making a little bit of a line with these. I want it up a little bit from this one. So now I have 4 mums in. I have this big kind of hole in the middle. So I'm going to go in with my next darkest color, mum. Just going to be this guy right here. And I'm going to do 2 right here in the middle. I'm going to do 1 there. Then I'm going to do 1 exactly on the other side, right up next to it. Like so. So that this is now filled in the gap. I'm going to do a little fancy of the top of my arrangement, if that makes sense. All right. So now I'm just going to kind of like look, and I'm going to start to fill in with some of my other mums. The next one I'm going to do is this gal right here, which is kind of fun. But I want this one, again, I'm looking to have a little bit of depth. So I want her to kind of be up and out away from these. And so what I'm going to do with that is I'm going to make it a little bit longer and a little bit taller than my other one. So you can see that one's kind of up and out, and she's kind of showcased over there. So I want to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to put her right here. So again, kind of showcased. Like so. And this is kind of giving it a little bit of drama as well, which I like. All right. I think I'm now going to go in with this one, which is a little bit lighter in color. And I'll look around and see where I think it might look nice. So again, I want these, because they are all different shades, I want them to, again, kind of have their own area so that they can sort of shine and not have to compete with the other the other mums in here. So again, it's a little bit difficult to tell, but these are all sort of coming in and out in different depths, so that I have different depths going on, so that things, you know, also can have their own spotlight and, you know, be able to do their own thing. I'm going to go in with this one, which is a little bit lighter now. And I'm going to start working this side area right here. That looks a little bit empty. So I have that there, kind of tucked in nicely. And I feel like I definitely want to have something here, and I want to have something here. So I'm gonna go in, I think, with this one down here. Yeah, I think right there will be nice. And then I'm gonna just adjust this one so that it's not taking up any space. All right, so I'm looking at this one. I'm just gonna slightly tweak it. Same thing with this one over here. I think this one looks a little crazy. So I'm gonna move it, cut it down just a little bit. So it's not quite. Yeah, like that, I think is a little bit better in terms of proportion. All right, so now I'm gonna start to fill in. I'm gonna use my last, which is this lovely kind of light peach colored one. And I really want this to have a bit of a moment, a little spotlight. So I'm gonna put this one, oopsie, right over here. But again, I don't want her to be on the same plane as some of the other ones. So I want it to be up a little bit, but down that one. And again, because this is such a focal point, because it's a lighter shade, I might have to move this one here a little bit. And then I think I'm going to put the other one over here. I just need to make a little bit more room. So I'm going to move this gal over just a little bit. I'm going to come and put this one in. Like so. All right, so I have all the ones that I want in place. And now I want to go in and kind of fill in some of the area with some of the other ones that I have that are left over, so that I don't have any big glaring bald spots, like down here, for example. And I have a little space down in here. So I'm going to put this gal over here. And I'm going to really tuck her in so that she's nice and deep in there. And I have two more of these. And I really love these. I think that they're really one of my favorite mums. So I might actually take this one and try and showcase it a little bit by putting it up high on this one side. Ooh, yeah, I like that. So it's a little bit high over here, but then on this side, you need something so that your people looking at it from the other side have something to look at. So I'll take that one and I'll do 3 right in this area right here. So that you have interest of it from both sides. I need to stick that there. All right, so I have 2 more. I have this darker one that I'm going to put in. I'm going to tuck this in close into this bald spot here. Like so. All right, and then I just have one more, kind of a big gap. Not sure. I think I'm actually going to take this one because it's the same as these, and I'm just going to have it up out slightly from the other ones. And I'm never sticking my stems in perpendicularly. I'm always sticking them in at a slight angle. There, I think I like that. So then she's kind of up there doing her own thing, gives a little bit dimension. I'm going to do that same thing on the other side with my last stem that I have. And so I think what makes this interesting is that you have all of these different levels of mums. I'm going to go in with some more of my, I'm going to use up the rest of my eucalyptus now. And just kind of like look around, see where there are some bald spots or spots that could use a little bit of greenery. Again, I'm breaking this down so it's into much smaller pieces so that it's more manageable. Okay, put something right here. All right, before we move on to one of our last steps, are there any questions for me? I'm just going in and filling in some of the eucalyptus right now.
Hi, yes, Amy, this is Rebecca again. We do have a question in the chat from Kit Turin. Can Amy literally show us, I don't know if you'll be able to show this right now, but wanted to know if you could show how you would empty and refill the arrangement with water. It's such a full arrangement, so it's hard to envision how that could be done.
Okay, let's see if we can do, I'm gonna bring a bucket over. Okay, so I just have a, all right, so I have this bucket. I'm just gonna put this on my stool right here so you can see that this is the bucket. I would take my entire arrangement, I would hold, and then you just pour it that way. And that's how you would empty the water out. And then I would go in So I would probably use a watering can and not this fancy little pitcher that I have. Hold on 1 second. I would get something that has a little bit of a, thinner nozzle. And then you just go in, kind of lift up a little bit, and then pour your new water into your container.
Thank you, Amy. And while you're working on that, we did get another question coming in from Madeline Samia. She wasn't able to find as many large mums, so she wanted to know if you could group smaller ones, if that would work.
Yes, I would do that. So like if you have, I actually have something else that I had done this week. So these are, your typical, just regular mums, whatever that are, all just in, it's like several clumps onto one. So one thing that you can do is you can pick off some of these ones that aren't quite open, and you can use this as like a triad of just like the three. You kind of clump them together. You would, cut it so that they're all still attached, and then use that in place for like one mum. All right, so the last thing that I have, which I found, which is, I'm still on the fence about this, but I had seen that there was this interesting eucalyptus that they dye. And so they take, regular eucalyptus and then they add color to it. This one to me looks pretty natural. It's sort of like a yellowish color. And then it goes, there's some brown ones. And then there's also some ones that are a little bit brighter red. I'm not 100% sure how I feel about this, but I thought that it would be kind of fun. I like to use foliage this time of the year in any of my arrangements because it really kind of brings that feeling of the outside, inside, and the changing colors of the leaves and everything. I just find that it's really something fun to do. So I'm kind of going to use this the same way. Again, I'm not 100% sold on this dyed eucalyptus, but I think that a little bit of it, kind of tucked in will kind of give the same effect as leaves. If you happen to be in an area where you can cut your own leaves from a tree, I would, recommend doing that. You could add that into your arrangement, but, just a little something. So again, it just kind of gives it that autumn harvest sort of feel. Again, I'm not going to use a lot of this. I just wanted to maybe a couple sprigs of this to, again, kind of give that feeling of a little bit of leafiness into the arrangement. I mean, it's, it's kind of fun. It's not bad. Again, you can just sort of see it gives like a little bit of a highlight to some of the flowers. And the other thing is it kind of covers up some of the bald spots that I see here and there.
Hi, Amy, it's Rebecca again. We have another question in the chat. Are the leaves dyed by putting the stem in food coloring and letting them soak, or dyed in any other way?
Yes. So I imagine what happened with this is that these were all picked and then they were put into their own vats of dye, because when I was playing around with them, I put some actually into our cafe arrangements that we have. And the water now is all either red, yellow, or orangey color, depending on like what eucalyptus stem I put in there. So it must be that they had put it in, into a container with the dye, and then it absorbed up through. the stem. But as you can see, I just did a couple. I'm not going kind of like crazy with it. I just wanted to have like a couple that, you know, kind of brings out that sort of autumnal feel of the arrangement. So now I feel like I'm done with this gal. I'm going to hold up the dark background so that you can see the arrangement. And then other side as well. But again, I think that, you know, you can really elevate the chrysanthemum and make it into something that is, you know, sort of fun and festive and not just, you know, you're sort of thinking of like, oh, it's just grocery store flowers or something that I can find, you know, relatively easily. You know, it's something that I think if you go out and you sort of search for these, you know, specialty mums, I think that it really can be quite an elegant and lovely arrangement. Are there any other questions before we start seeing what people are doing? And I know I did this really fast. Just this was the, I think, 14th arrangement I've done this week. So I've been able to like really speed up my process apparently now that it's Friday and I've finished all these arrangements. So don't feel like, you know, you need to be done with it at the same speed that I did. Just putting that out there.
Thanks, Amy. It looks like before we start sharing, we do have at least one more question in the chat from Diana Borashi. Do you have any special place where to buy decorative vases near DC?
Decorative vases. Okay, there's a couple of different things. One, I have found that I really like going to local pottery studios. There's one specifically in DC. It's in Georgetown called Hinckley Pottery, and they make some amazing pottery there. So I think it's really fun to incorporate a local artist or something like that. If you're just looking for, you know, just your run-of-the-mill container, like, you know, something that you can spend like 10 bucks on or whatever. In DC, there's Potomac Floral Wholesale, which is in Silver Spring, and that they sell wholesale and then they also sell retail as well. And you can actually go in, you can buy all of your flowers there, you can buy containers there. It's a whole kit and caboodle of things that you can get there. And again, you don't have to have a wholesale account. You can just literally walk in off of the street and they're allowing people into the warehouse again without any restrictions, I think. The other place where we got these containers for our workshop today, it's Jamali, Jamali Gardens, and you can order off of their website. They're based in New York City. They're in the Floral District. I first came across them just wandering around New York and happened to see this place that had, you know, just thousands of containers. And again, you can order like just one container from them off of their website, or if you're in the New York area, you can always go in and buy something that way too.
Great, and we have a recommendation in the chat too for another place to buy pottery, which of course everybody watching the chat can see, but just wanted to share with you too that Caitlin Roberts said, I'm not sure if I'm going to pronounce it right, but Kuza Pottery in the Brooklyn neighborhood is another recommendation.
Yeah. Wonderful. And I also wanted to give a little plug to, there's this place that I found. I'm actually going to be doing a virtual tour with them next week. It's called Harmony. Actually, I have to look this up. I'm sorry. Harmony Harvest. They are a They are growing specialty and heirloom mums, and they are in the DC region. They're about 2.5 hours close to the Shenandoah Valley. And I found them on Instagram and absolutely love, you know, what they're doing. You know, I think it's a mother and 2 daughters who are running this farm. Really amazing. So if you're in the area, or even if you're not, you can always go to their website like I'm doing and do a virtual mum tour with them, or you can go in person and actually, you know, go and see the mums yourself. Let me just look really quick. Yes, it's called Harmony Harvest Farm, and they're in Wayers Cave. I don't know if I'm saying that right, Virginia. But again, it's close to the Shenandoah Valley. Yeah. And again, you know, look for people in your area, look for local growers who are doing specialty mums, because those are really the places where you're going to be able to find people who are doing specialty mums and things like that. You know, it is harder to go into just your Trader Joe's or whatever and find all the different varieties of mums like we have for you today. But again, even if you do just go into the Trader Joe's, you could do something where you pick up all just one color of this exquisite mum, but then you add in, you know, some seeded eucalyptus, or you add in some foliage to it, and you can really just sort of elevate and make your arrangement special and make it feeling like fall that way as well.
Fabulous. These are great recommendations. Of course, if people continue to have questions, please do put those in the chat or ask your questions as you share. But I think we've reached the end of our scheduled time for the demo, but I definitely hope those of you who have been following along, I've seen some arrangements coming together as we've been going along. I hope you can stay for show and tell, and we'd love to see what you've been working on. And meanwhile, I do thank all of you for joining us today, and want to remind you that we do have a floral design again next month, Friday, November 11th. So I'll go ahead in a moment and put the link to that in the chat too. But meanwhile, who's ready to share?
I am.
Julie. Oh.
Oops, we've got a few ready to go. I think Rosie?
Yeah,
Great.
sorry, if someone else was going ahead, please go ahead with them.
Go right ahead. We'll have a chance for everyone to share.
Okay, so I'm gonna put this up and you can see it all around.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
So I did.
Yeah, I like how you've done the eucalyptus up high like that too. That really makes it fun.
Okay, that's about the best I can do, Amy. But I do want to say a very big thank you. I love your classes. They're always so much fun, and I love the supplies. I'm always bummed when I'm not able to get them. But I really do love your classes and your supplies, and I really appreciate that you do this. One quick thing, if I may, is that is there a way for the participants to get some of these recommendations? Because I'm afraid I didn't write them down. So,
oh yeah. So I think things that were either listed in the chat or things that I had mentioned, we can definitely make a list of that for you.
Awesome.
And we'll send that.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you. It looks gorgeous.
Yeah, and building on that, related to that, somebody asked in the chat, and I have answered in there, but this recording will be available. It usually takes about a week or so before we get it posted on our YouTube channel, but you can always go back and watch again and get the information, the great information that was shared in today's program, as well as all of Amy's amazing floral workshops that we've been doing over the last few years. And then I think there's another question in here. What is the hydrating solution you mentioned?
I have to go, I'm sorry.
Oh, yeah, so the hydrating solution that I use, it's called, the company is called Crystal, and it's just called crystal, and it's literally called hydrating solution. They have different ones, different formulas, but the one that I use is the number. I can't. Oh, it's number 1. And it's just called Crystal Hydration. And I feel like you can only buy that in relatively large quantities, but you might be able to find it in smaller quantities as well. But I'm not sure. I've only ever seen it sort of in like the big quantities of it.
Great, thank you. Now, did I hear before we had Rosie share, was Julia wanted to, I don't want to spotlight somebody who wasn't ready, but
Yeah, no, I'm ready. I don't know how large a picture this is. I'm having trouble with.
Oh no, that's fantastic. Yeah. That looks
So
gorgeous.
I did the opposite. I put my eucalyptus towards the bottom. Is it okay that some of it is actually leaning over to the extent that it's touching the little table?
Yeah, I think that's great. I don't know, you can't really tell on mine, but mine is also hanging over and it's almost touching the Lazy Susan. So I like that, which is why I always typically choose a compote bowl so that it's lifted up slightly, that you can have these things kind of hang and drape over the sides, because I think it's a lovely effect.
Okay, good.
It looks gorgeous.
Thank you.
fabulous. Thank you for sharing it.
Thank you.
I see some other folks with cameras on. So I don't know if that's, I see Andrea has a camera on. Were you, did you want to share? She may be in the middle of moving right now, the floral arrangement. So perhaps we've got Kathy's over here. Let me go ahead and spotlight Kathy's.
Oh, lovely. That looks gorgeous. So Kathy, you're still on mute if you want to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I did not make the trip to get your supplies, so it's mostly what I could find in the
No, but
supermarket.
it looks great. Yeah, no.
I didn't have enough foliage, so I just snipped some stuff from the yard, but
Nice. Oh no, I think it looks gorgeous. Excellent job.
thanks.
And it looks like a variety of mums too. So you did a great job scouting.
Thank you.
And it looks beautiful there outdoors on this really nice day.
It's a glorious day here.
Let's see. Who else is there anybody else who wanted to share? You can unmute and speak up if you'd like to share yours.
Well, I think you can see some of mine. This is Andrea. Can you
Great.
see it? It's not very good. Okay.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah, but I enjoyed the class. Thank you very much. It was fun.
Good. Well, it looks beautiful.
Oh, thanks.
Fabulous. Thank you for sharing that.
Hi, we're dialed in with Katie. This is Katie. I'm Slava. We enjoyed your class very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
We didn't find multiple colors of mums at Trader Joe's today, so we picked other fall colored flowers.
Oh, that's perfect. Yeah.
What we came up with. We also didn't use bowls because we didn't have bowls, so we're, the height thing was a little bit different, but tried to follow instructions as best as we could with what we had.
Yeah, I love the color palette that you chose. And again, it was really trying to capture that feel of the beginning of fall, which you guys did. And they look gorgeous. Lovely.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for sharing. Is there anyone else? I see Nancy. I'm going to add a spotlight to yours. And if you would like to unmute.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
How are you?
Okay. I love your peach mums that you have there. They're a gorgeous tone.
Yeah, that looks gorgeous. Is there any way you can kind of like move your iPad a little bit? I don't know. It's a little tricky.
Yep, it's hard to see the whole arrangement at once, but the
Right,
colors
you
look
hit the bottom
beautiful.
part. I can see that.
Well, it looks gorgeous either way.
Maybe if I move it out this way, there we
Yeah.
go. A little bit better.
Yeah, and I love all the different size mums that you have in there as well. It looks gorgeous. Very lovely.
That was a fun workshop. Really very
Good.
fall-like. I love it. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else who wants a chance to share yours? I see a few more cameras still on. Should I,
Hi, this is Beth and Sarah. We just wanted to say thank you. We had such a blast. You can kind of
Oh,
see.
look at this. They look gorgeous.
Thank you. We had so much fun.
Oh, good. Good. Excellent.
we're so glad you joined us. Thank you. I see Sylvia's just turned a camera on.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Oh, that looks beautiful.
well,
Yeah, lovely.
I can't get a good picture, but this
Oh, no, it
was
looks- yeah.
just such fun. I've never put these in an arrangement before, so thank you, Amy.
Oh,
I just learned
thank
so
you.
much from you. It's such fun.
Well, that looks absolutely gorgeous. Excellent job.
Yes, thank you for sharing. And I think there was some, we have Betty. Did Betty want to share? I've seen your camera on. Did you all want to share?
Oh, you're on mute still.
Oh, yeah, we
Good.
decided not to. My granddaughters helped.
Oh,
is
Oh,
wonderful.
that's great.
Hi.
That's wonderful.
Hello.
We'll take it over there.
Okay.
That's nice that you got help today.
Oh my gosh.
We're having trouble. Technical trouble.
Wait. What? Sorry.
We're having
That's all right.
Oh, wait, I see
It
it.
looks gorgeous.
Oh, there it is. It's beautiful.
Oh, that's absolutely lovely. Excellent job, ladies.
Thank you.
Oh, Leslie, thank you.
Okay, we'll turn this off.
All right, I think that may have been everybody who looked like they wanted to share. I'm hoping we didn't miss anyone. All right, well, if we've gotten everyone, thank you all so much for joining us today. I hope we'll see you again very soon.
Yes.
And yeah, have a fabulous rest of your day and weekend. Thank you for joining us today for the floral design workshop.
Thank you, guys. Have a great
you.
October.
Thank you, Amy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.